Howdy, all of you delicious people. I'm here today to review a Nicolas Cage film called Pig. So, the main reason why I wanted to just kind of review this is because, one, I like Nicolas Cage films. Like, I don't care how bad, odd, whatever that they are. Like, I've seen a wide barrage of them. Like, I don't think I've seen the Nicolas Cage movie Primal, but I've seen kind of very wild varieties of Nicolas Cage. Like, I've seen Mandy, which I haven't reviewed. There's a bunch of things that I'm probably going to name now that I probably haven't reviewed. I've seen Con Air. Family Man is actually a really great movie to me, and for like the longest time, that was like my all-time favorite film until certain other things came about. I love movies. I love a lot of Nicolas Cage movies just because, like, Face Off is a real fun film. So on and so forth. Like, Snake Eyes is kind of interesting. Like, it's kind of like a try to figure out, like, put the pieces together kind of puzzle kind of movie. So on and so forth. There's a ton of Gone in 60 Seconds, whatever. Like, I'm kind of going through the whole entire Nicolas Cage catalog of things, but believe me, I've seen a ton of them. I reviewed one, Willy's Wonderland here, and I reviewed The Wicker Man. Some people might find either one of those interesting, funny, whatever. But, so, check them out if you want to. But the real also reason that I also reviewed this is because I went and I watched the review of Pig on another YouTube channel. I went and saw the review of this via a channel that is called I'll Buy the Popcorn. And so she had reviewed this video there. So go ahead and check that review out if you want a different opinion about this movie. What is about this movie cryptically? So, cryptically talking, for people that have seen this movie, man, that pig was just having a lot of screen time, right? Good God for people that have seen this movie. Man, like, that pig, like, had so much to say in this film, and I was like, hey, like, back up, pig, you do realize that Nicolas Cage is in this film, right? But the pig is like, no, I have a lot to say. And that's a joke, because actually it's quite the opposite. So, here's the thing. Like, people will probably find this movie to be slow, but eventually once we start to trickle out how much stuff that Nicolas Cage's character does seem to know, and all of a sudden we get to, like, have Nicolas Cage with actually this, like, previous life that he has had, like, it starts to become slowly but surely a very interesting, like, movie. Yeah, it is really slow. Like, bizarrely, the consensus of this film is that this feels like a John Wick movie, which actually I would not think of that at all. Like, in all honesty, I would think more of, like, the Liam Neeson movie Taken. I would feel much more of that to safely say that, like, this movie kind of feels like that, but you're not going to get, like, the perspective of the pig the entire time and, like, Nicolas Cage chasing after it. Like, it's not that kind of, like, goofy-ish-like film, but I want to have, like, I should have actually went through this movie and counted how many times they were to have actually said pig during this film, because I think it's that kind of film where, like, how many times could they have said pig somewhere in this film? But yeah, so, like, this character does have an interesting kind of previous life that he has stopped living, and so, like, it's kind of, like, odd, like, trying to understand what Nicolas Cage is doing now, but, like, kind of, like, why he got to this, like, point from backstory. But anyways, yeah, I actually just enjoyed this movie. Like, towards the later parts of this movie, I really just started to just go, okay, all right, like, I can enjoy this. But also, the whole entire time is like, free the pig! I was having a protest sign saying, free the pig! Pig freedom! But if anything, I'm not going to ham things out and talk about how things had to be baked the way they did. So, anyways, so let's go into. Well, I guess I should tease something up. So, because this movie is fairly slow, and some people might need a way to easily invest in this. So here's one thing. I think supposedly this might be on premium access or something right now, because the way of which that I saw this was actually really clean and whatever. So I'm assuming this has a premium access somewhere. If you don't want to spend the money for that, then go out of your way that you say that you've seen this film by going into a number of apps that I've used consistently. Believe me, I've used these. It seems like they've been perfectly fine. So in time, you can go into an app called C Movies, the letter C Movies, or you can also go into an app called, Fox HD Movies. The logo will say so, but the title will probably say like Play 1080p Movies or something like that. It's been a while since I've searched through that, but if anything, if you put in the word Fox HD Movies, that logo will pop up. I've said this a million times through every single thing that I've done. So, with that said, you can watch Pig, and it'll be Piglicious. I don't know. Anyways, so the teeing up of this movie is basically a man is to have a pig to supposedly find truffles. And all of a sudden, that pig is to be taken one day by some man. And so, well, technically a number of people, but eventually the final handoff is to be some man. So eventually, Robin who is Nicolas Cage in this movie, is to make his way to try to find the trail of where's my pig? To give me my pig! To, to, like, eventually finding out, where his pig is, supposedly. So yeah, this movie is to be also us eventually finding out that Nicholas has or Robin has a past of like being a chef, and eventually that he kind of knows a lot of underground-ish like things to get information. And so like yeah, like so like that's all that I want to really just tee it up here, because if I get any further in this movie, then like so like I would like for a overall grade of this movie, how would I feel about this film? I honestly would say, like, I've seen a lot of Nicolas Cage films, and like I would probably say that this one is like just an okay film. Like I would just say an okay Nicolas Cage film. Like I would say that I've probably had better Nicolas Cage films. Like this one didn't do it for me. This one didn't hit me right. You know what I'm saying? Like this one just didn't like, you know, like but like I thought like eventually once we get further on into this movie, I found it to be interesting, but maybe not everyone will feel that way. But like a lot of people might have a variety of different opinions about this movie. Some people might say it's bad. Some people might say it's meh. Like some people might say it's eh. Some people might not even have a word to say it. They might just comment with a question mark or whichever, and that's perfectly fine because that helps out this channel. So, with that said, let's go out of our way to say that it is about that time again to go into spoilers about this movie. So let's go out of our way to say that it is that coveted time again to go into that spoiler territory, because it is spoiler time. Spoiler time. It's about that time to spoil this movie. If you want exact details of this review, of like where exactly they go, every little single bit of all this, and like as if like you want to be completely immersed into the overall whatever of it, that's not going to happen. I'm probably going to try to quickly assess this and go through this. And so, with that said, check out this movie if you want to very severely in-depth whatever, or go to someone else who's going to severely microscopically go through a movie review, because I'm not going to do that. So, in the very beginning of this, we are to have a man who lives in some like hole somewhere. Honestly, like this to me kind of reminds me of the movie like Survivalist a little bit without the sex parts, or like kind of the very beginning look of this kind of like reminds me of like Plank Face with again without the sex parts, or really just like the need to kill a person that happens repetitiously through that movie. Uh, that kind of feels like a Rob Zombie film to me. But anyways, pushing on. So Nicolas Cage is to go out and to pick truffles with his pig, because this pig is to be a truffle finder. And so Robin is to say that this pig is a truffle finder and that this pig is hugely valuable. But there's actually another reason why that this pig is valuable, is because Robin just loves this pig. So what ends up happening is that Robin is to eventually like have some time with this pig, and eventually the pig is to get taken by two drug addicts. So we have Robin, who is to have a guy named Amar that is to consistently drop by and like do things for Robin. And so now, like, Robin is to desperately ask Amar, like, we have to figure out where, like, this pig is. Like, we have to, like, track it down and whatever the heck. And so Amar is like, well, do you recognize who the people were? Or, like, do they, like, describe them to me? And Rob is just like, But, so I guess Nicolas Cage had gotten, like, freaking hurt, and so like you just kind of see him just kind of laying on the floor as if he's been laying there for hours, because I guess that was possibly the only place he could have slept, but also that's probably where he got knocked out. So Rob is asking Amir, like, well, we got to figure out where this pig is, because this pig is like really valuable. And Amir is just like, well, how about we just get you another pig and everything will be fine? And Robin's like, no, like, it would take too long for me to go and train another pig. Like, basically, it would just derail everything, so I just need that one pig. Like, so we need to find that one pig. So Robin is to just kind of retrace his steps, eventually go and eventually find these drug dealers who are to have taken his pig but do not have his pig. And so that transitions us on to forcibly having Robin go to this restaurant to be like, hey, where's my pig? So Robin is to have like been in this restaurant before and knows that there is some like underground like fighting thing where people are to toss money down and a person is to get beaten the living crap out of. And like, so Nicolas Cage is going in and it's like, hey, I'm going to be the next fighter. And so he puts his hands behind his back, and like there's guys tossing big money to basically just punch Nicolas Cage in the face. So one guy is starting to beat the living crap out of Nicolas Cage, and so after that fight, Nicolas Cage gets up and is to tell or is to ask the guy who is putting this thing together, where's my pig? Like, what information do you guys have about my pig? And so that leads Nicolas Cage to eventually push on and like follow the follow the bouncing ball of where the heck that this pig is. So eventually that leads us to have Robin going to a previous chef of his, because we find out that Nicolas Cage was I guess such a good chef. Maybe he was a Gordon Ramsay of chefs, and at one point, and so Nicolas Cage is going with his previous chef, and it seems like truffles had been a big part of their menu, and so Robin is talking to this previous guy that he had fired, because this guy did not want to be a chef. He wanted to go and put together a pub. And Robin is like, well, why didn't you put together this pub? And so the chef is just like, because I just wanted to like pubs don't work out. And so really, like, this guy was just kind of stuck, like wanting to put together a restaurant. And so like Robin was just saying, like, mentioning like why he got out of the restaurant biz, and like convincing the chef that he should have gotten out too. Like, that's why Robin fired him, is so that way this guy could have gotten out of cooking. Like, it wasn't that he was a bad cook, it was just that like Robin knew that this guy like should get out. That he saw something in this guy that told him, like, dude, you need to get out and do this pub or something else, because like that'll probably make you happier or whatever. So anyways, once Robin is to talk to this man, and like, I'm kind of really fast tracking a lot through this movie, because a lot of it is just like Robin spending time with his pig, and like us getting this like chase around of where Robin is to go and find where this pig is. And so this leads us to having this having us also get a glimpse of Amir's life. And because like Amir, we are to find that his mother is to be really sick, and Amir is just like wanting to kind of pull the plug on his mother, because it seems like she's suffering, and Amir doesn't want to see his mother suffering. And so we also find out that Robin's wife like had died, and so we find out that she had left him some cassette tape that was to like play some song. And like that kind of happens way later in the film, but I just kind of wanted to like kind of like wrap this all up in a nice neat little bow. So but Robin is to have lost his wife, and like I guess the only thing after his wife passing that could like make Robin happy was this pig. And so once it was gone, like he was just like, no, like I need this pig, because like it'll keep me going, it'll keep me working. Because it gets to a point where Robin is to finally confess to Amir that like it's not about just throwing money at me to buy another pig. Like also like this pig would not actually derail me finding these truffles, because Robin is to mention that the trees are a thing to be able to help him find the truffles, and so he never actually needed the pig. And so Amir is like, well, then why were you asking for like this pig so desperately? And Robin was to say that the reason why he desperately asked for this pig is just because he loved this pig. And so like like that made this pig like uh just like, I want to freaking get this pig. I don't care what I have to do to get this pig. I want it back. So that leads us to going to Amir's father, who is to actually be Darius. So Robin is to go to Darius because supposedly Darius is to have Robin's pig. We find out that Robin had consistently been cooking for Darius before, and that I guess Darius had taken his pig because I guess Robin had stopped cooking for Darius. I'm assuming. Like, there's a lot about this movie that doesn't quite feel said, or if there was a part where there was some part said in this movie, then anyways, so my bad. My bad. Anyways, so but this is gonna be a really quick review. So it is. Because there's not a lot of dialogue in this movie, but also there's like the follow the bouncing ball of all this stuff. Um, but yeah, so going into this, so what ends up happening is Robin is to ask for his pig from Darius, and so Darius is just like, well, like I'm just gonna give you like 20,000 or like 30,000, 20 million. Like, will that suffice to like get you to go away? And Robin is like, no, like pig right now. Give me the pig. Give it to me. Give me that pig now. So Darius is just like, well, I'm gonna give you 20,000, and you can buy a new pig, and like that's what you're gonna do. And so Robin is just gonna go with Amar and make a meal and make it for both Darius and the two other of them. And so, because I think Robin is just gonna stay with Marius until he gets his pig. So however long that's gonna take, like he'll just be there for like for however long it's going to take them for Robin to give up this pig. So or for not Robin, Darius to give up the pig. So Darius is to go and is to like eat this food, and then all of a sudden he is to like start crying, and he is to eventually just walk off. And so Robin is to eventually go there and to talk to Darius. And so Darius is to tell Robin the truth that what ended up actually happening is that the pig during transitional parts, because I guess the drug addicts had been a little too rough with the pig, that during the transition or the handoff or the whatever, the pig died. And so we have Robin, who is now just fallen to the floor, just crying about this pig. And so now Robin is to leave, hearing about like, here's the thing, like I would have wanted like proof of death, sadly enough. Like I would have said like, dude, I came all this way, I want to know that like he's dead. Like I want to know my pig is dead. So that way like I don't freaking trust freaking Darius. Like maybe he's hiding the pig. Like maybe because this pig is so valuable to Robin, it's like you want to like think that like Robin is probably going to ask that, so much so that Robin is just going to lose his mind and almost kill Darius to want the absolute truth. So, but I don't know. I don't know how scary Darius actually is, but anyways, so so Robin is to eventually go to meet a previous employee of his and uh, go to this restaurant where this girl had been a baker, and so Robin had went to this previous place where he had cooked before, uh, and been talking with this girl, and Robin is like, "Wait, you didn't like change anything?" And she was like, "No, I was kind of expecting that you were just gonna come back, so I never changed anything. I thought to just keep everything the same. I didn't want to take on the building or whatever, and so because I thought you would come back. I thought you would have come back to me, but you didn't." So Robin is to ask this girl if she still knows some recipe, and this girl is to say, "Oh yeah, I remember that recipe." Uh, I don't know exactly what they I guess maybe he was to ask for some kind of recipe or something, something that he didn't exactly know. But anyways, so uh, we we eventually transition here. Oh my god, how I'm trying to figure out how exactly this movie just goes into ending. Uh, Oh, so Robin is talking to Amir at this one spot and mentioning that he kind of wished that he wouldn't have known the pig was dead. So maybe Robin could have lived in a life where this pig would have still been alive, and that maybe that would have kept him going or kept him uh, continuing to push on and whatever. But now, since that is kind of snuffed out of his life, that recently now uh Robin doesn't exactly know what is the next thing to do. So really we just transition to have Robin just kind of go back to where he was, and just kind of be forced to still be doing what he was doing. I guess there wasn't a real true I would assess the feeling of this movie is that Robin had went back to cooking. That's what I naturally assumed, that maybe he would have gone and done, but maybe I could be wrong about that. Maybe no, he went back into his little shack and still looked for truffles, and eventually got a new pig, but I don't know. But yeah, so yeah, the ending of this, we have the cassette that is playing, and uh of his wife, and so really that's just kind of how the movie just kind of fizzles out. There isn't a real true happy ending out of all this, or it doesn't feel like there's a real good conclusion out of all this. There doesn't seem to be a clean cut oh yeah, it just kind of feels like the movie just kind of diffuses and just kind of just has nowhere to go after yeah, the pig that you're looking for through this entire movie, yeah, he was dead. So yeah, sucks to be you. Now what are you going to do after this? Because there's not going to be a pig 2, but if there is, then I'd be like, okay, so what? Is he gonna get a new pig, and they're gonna take that? Or all of a sudden are we gonna have a franchise out of the movie Pig? I just think that there is just going to be Nicolas Cage doing a ton of one-off movies, and that's actually sad to say because I actually did like Willy's Wonderland, but there's not going to be a sequel coming out of that. But man, would it be cool if there was? Because I actually liked that. I actually liked that movie. That movie was really enjoyable, even though it's basically Nicolas Cage not having one single word throughout that entire film, and but man, if they could keep busting out those kind of movies, maybe all of a sudden you could have found that there was franchises set up of this thing, and every single one of them had some kind of different approach to it. But I'm sure for that kind of movie, that would probably take years to probably put together. especially with putting together like unique animatronics and whatever what have you. But with that said, yeah, that's all I had to say about this review, about this movie. If anything, there's probably little minute details that, or whatever, that a lot of people be like, oh, well, this didn't happen exactly like that, or whichever. And like, I did this review in a very roundabout way. So, anyways, and plus also I didn't go through the IMDb all that much. I was like, this chef guy and this person and this people and the blah blah blah. And I like that's how I just did this. So with that said, I'm gonna get the heck out of here. Goodbye, everybody. Bye, everybody.